When most people think of active volcanoes, they're likely thinking about the iconic Yellowstone supervolcano. It's the largest active volcano in North America and the world's first supervolcano. Because it's so huge, scientists have long suspected that it's overdue for an eruption. And when it does blow its stack, it'll likely wipe out all life on the planet. But as big as Yellowstone is, it's not the only sleeping giant that could end all life on Earth. In fact, there are plenty more death traps lurking beneath our feet that scientists have recently discovered. So today, we're going to be taking a look at 5 other places on Earth where the ground beneath your feet might suddenly decide it wants to kill you. The first place you should keep an eye on is the Trans-Mexican Volcanic Belt. This region, located south of Mexico City, contains around 40 volcanoes, many of which are considered active. But it's not just the volcanoes that are dangerous. The entire region is situated on top of a massive hotspot. If the slab of rock that makes up the region gets too hot, it could melt and release a huge amount of magma. This could lead to a massive volcanic eruption that would cover much of Mexico and the surrounding areas in lava. What's scary about this region is that the hotspot has been getting bigger in recent years. Scientists are still trying to figure out if this is just a random fluctuation or if it's the beginning of something much more dangerous. But in the meantime, it's best to keep an eye on this area just in case. Next up, we have the Sundompa. This is a mountain range located in Papua New Guinea that's home to some of the most active volcanoes in the country. One of these volcanoes, Mount Ulawun, is one of the world's most dangerous volcanoes. Not only is it highly active, but it also has a large population living near it. At the base of the volcano, over 20,000 people live in small villages where they farm crops and fish in the nearby ocean. If Mount Ulawun were to erupt violently, it would devastate the surrounding area and likely cause a humanitarian crisis. The Sundompa region is already one of the most volatile regions in the world when it comes to earthquakes and volcanoes. The Sunda Gap is a tectonic plate boundary between the Australian and Pacific plates. This boundary is responsible for the high level of volcanic activity in the region. In addition to Mount Ulawun, there are several other active volcanoes in the Sunda Gap that could erupt at any time. These include Mount Ibu in Indonesia, Mount Vesuvius in Italy, and Mount Pinatubo in the Philippines. Each of these volcanoes poses a threat to the millions of people who live nearby. Mount Ibu alone is home to nearly 300,000 people. If it were to erupt, all of them would likely be killed. Speaking of the Philippines, the next place you don't want to be when the ground decides it wants to kill you is the Manila Trench. Located near the capital city of Manila, this trench is a major tectonic plates boundary. The Philippine Sea Plate is subducting or sliding under the Philippine Mobile Belt. This process is what causes the region to be so seismically active. The friction between the two plates creates a buildup of energy that's released in the form of earthquakes. On January 16, 1990, magnitude 7.8 earthquake struck the region. The earthquake caused widespread damage and over 2,000 deaths. While this was one of the worst earthquakes in recent history, it was not the largest. The biggest earthquake to hit the region was a magnitude 8.2 shaker that occurred in 1863. This quake caused even more damage and is estimated to have killed over 4,000 people. It destroyed buildings, bridges, and roads and left thousands of people homeless. In addition to the loss of life and property, the earthquake also caused significant economic damage. The agricultural industry was particularly hard hit as crops were destroyed and livestock were lost. It's estimated that the total cost of the damage from the earthquake was over $20 million in 1863. That's the equivalent of over $600 million today. As you can see, earthquakes can have a devastating impact on both human lives and the economy. So let's move over to the other side of the globe, to the Tonga Islands. The Tonga Islands are located in the South Pacific Ocean and are home to a large active volcano known as the Hunga Tonga Hunga Ha'apai volcano. On January 15, 2022, the volcano erupted in the largest volcanic eruption ever recorded by modern instruments. The blast was so powerful that it was heard 2,300 kilometers away in New Zealand. Ash from the eruption covered a large portion of the islands and caused widespread damage. Homes and buildings were destroyed, crops were decimated, and water supplies were contaminated. In addition to the physical damage, the eruption also had a significant impact on the local economy. The tourism industry was particularly hard hit as visitors to the islands were scared away by the ash cloud. The Hunga Tonga Hunga Ha'apai volcano is one of the most active volcanoes in the world and has erupted several times in the past few hundred years. However, the January 2022 eruption was by far the most violent and destructive. It remains to be seen whether or not the island will be able to recover from the devastation caused by the blast. And finally, we have the Middle America Trench. This trench is located off the west coast of Mexico and Central America and is another major tectonic plate boundary. The Cocos Plate is subducting or sliding under the North American plate. This process creates a lot of friction, which builds up stress and energy. When the stress becomes too great, it's released in the form of an earthquake. On February 27, 1976, a magnitude 7.9 earthquake struck the region. The earthquake caused widespread damage and over 100 deaths. The city of Guadalajara in particular was hard hit, with over 50,000 people being affected. In addition to the loss of life and property, the earthquake also caused significant economic damage. The agricultural industry was especially hard hit as crops were destroyed and livestock were lost. The total cost of the damage from the earthquake was estimated to be over $350 million. That's the equivalent of nearly $1.5 billion today. While the 1976 earthquake was one of the worst to hit the region in recent history, it was not the largest. The biggest earthquake to hit the Middle America Trench was a magnitude 8.1 shaker that occurred in 1985. This quake caused even more damage and is estimated to have killed over 1,000 people. While these volcanoes may not be as well known as Yellowstone, they pose just as great a threat to human civilization. They are truly the sleeping giants that could easily awaken and cause massive destruction. Even though these volcanoes are located all over the world, they share one thing in common. They are all situated along the Pacific Ring of Fire. This is a horseshoe-shaped belt around the Pacific Ocean where volcanoes and earthquakes are common. The reason for this high level of volcanic activity is due to the fact that the Ring of Fire is home to several tectonic plate boundaries. Where these plates meet, they create a lot of friction, which builds up stress and energy. When the stress becomes too great, it's released in the form of an earthquake or volcanic eruption. What do you think? Are there any other places on Earth that you think could end all life? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out my others. Thanks for watching. See you next time.